for some StarCraft 2.
At least 2 people who are also casting.
At least 2 people. Whoa! The whole stage.
We're in a time
Earth
warp.
is moving because oh my God, it's getting closer to you.
StarCraft 2 is intense. Literally, the apparently time-space continuum cannot quite handle how awesome this show match is going to be. Between inControl and Machine, a little PvZ action.
Dude, some crazy stuff going on behind us. We apparently are not the only people who are so excited. And you know what? This is a perfect time. There's just a few moments left to finally get in on the contest for this Samsung solid-state drive. And this guy has been drooling ever since that this Samsung solid-state drive has hit this desk.
I'll sleep with whoever I have to. I need one of these, like, real bad.
And we're going to give one away. And let's bring up the slate really quick, and we will show you how you can do. If you're on Twitter right now, you tweet a message with the following: your prediction for the winner, either EG Machine or EG inControl, at Beyond the Game, at Live on 3, and use the hashtag WCG SSD. And if you guys have not sort of gotten on board with the SSD technology, it is ridiculously fast.
It's so fast, especially as file sizes are getting more gigantic.
Right.
You just need to do things quicker. It's not your processor. It's not your graphics card holding you up. It's actually your hard drive, which is a problem I literally am having right now.
Like all the time, too. And
Seriously.
I mean, everything from like system boot up to the speed in which games load to, if you are a graphic artist, are you doing anything like that? Video editing. We do a lot of that, exactly. And these things can make your life go from bad to awesome right there. So we're going to be giving one away. This is a 120 gigabyte solid state drive right here. Of course, people are like, oh, well, how do I even put that in my system? Well, it's a SATA 2 interface, so you just literally pop that thing right in there. And it's so easy that Day 9 could do it.
I know.
Believe it or not. Believe it or not.
I'm not the computer expert. I just play games. I don't delve into the guts of the computer.
Yeah. So Samsung solid state drive up, and we've got StarCraft 2 on the main stage here for the WCG USA Finals, kind of like wrapping up the day with some special side events. There you see our 2 players inControl, kind of near the upper side of your screen, and Machine just right next to him and within smacking distance. So if either of them is upset about anything the other is doing, just a quick little psh,
I know, especially I do not want to get on inControl's wrong side if he is 5 feet away from me.
Right.
Because he is gigantic.
He is.
Now,
he will
to
tear
be
you
honest,
up.
this is an interesting match, not just because these players are extremely good. I mean, they're already very well known in the StarCraft community, but at MLG, first round inControl had to play against Machine. There were 4 guys from EG who went to that tournament, and by miracle luck of the anti-draw, they managed to be against one another first round, and inControl ended up winning that series in some pretty long, intense matches. I mean, a lot of the games of that tournament were pretty fast, one-sided, and throughout the whole tournament, especially first round, that was a very, very close one. So going to see him duke it out here on Metalopolis.
We're going to be playing on Metalopolis. Of course, inControl playing as the Protoss and Machine playing as the Zerg, and we're ready to rock and roll whenever you are. This is it, guys. You have to put your Twitter on for the Samsung solid-state drive now. If it comes on after the match has already happened, you're going to get disqualified. So hopefully you've already put your prediction in there, have the proper @, have the proper hashtags, and we are going to get going. One lucky winner who has been enjoying the stream all weekend long, and we want to thank, there's been a lot of people watching the matches here in the Inside the Globe Theater in Universal Studios Hollywood, but we've also had so many people watching from around the globe, and we appreciate you guys doing it. Here we go. We're going right into the game and get started.
And as usual, we got to give the good old shout out to the fine folks at Reddit. We're helping to promote the stream.
Yes.
We heart you, and of course, if you upvote, we will heart you harder. And now moving directly into this first game is Metalopolis. I really hope that they are going to be spawning on opposite ends of the map. Just anything but right versus bottom or top versus left. And it looks like, yes, we do have them on opposite ends of the screen. We have inControl spawning at the right as the yellow Protoss. And at the top, we have Machine in the north as the red Zerg.
So what would you expect? I mean, you saw those games that they played there, and these guys are teammates, so they've played so many games together. They know the ins and outs of one another. So, if you could just like go out on a limb and say, this is what I think is going to happen, what would come out of your mouth?
What I would probably imagine is that inControl really loves having the Colossus as his core unit. In fact, sometimes favoring getting them what seems like dangerously early. But as we can see, a probe is moving down the ramp. He's definitely going to be going for, it looks like, a 10 pylon. Going to follow that up with a 10 gate, the standard opening in Protoss versus Zerg to do aggression right off the bat. Now, Machine is the exact opposite. Instead of trying to be really aggressive, instead of trying to get in your face early, he is a macro player. He likes expanding. He would probably take his third very quickly and do a very sort of miracle thin defense StarCraft 1 style.
So off the OV, we got the 3 drones coming out for Machine, and this is pretty much how I open all the time in Zerg as well, and because I watch the pros and I watch what they do and I copy. That's how it works.
You know, and one thing that's already very interesting to know, inControl, oh my gosh, has not even built a gateway yet. It looks like he's just going to be going directly for a very fast Nexus right off the bat, assuming his opponent is going to be doing exactly what he's doing. Oh, this is so awesome. Look, there's the hatch rate going down, and it looks like I am wrong again. It looks like he is not going for a very fast Nexus. He's just making a forge at the front, still gearing up for a fast Expo.
Right, and you know that actually excites me a little bit here because a single game here on Metalopolis, it means that we could be going in for the long haul. Ovi has made it over here to the base, and Machine is going to get like a little peek, and you can see that his Ovi is headed just perfectly in that direction to spot that forward and get a good idea at what's going on. And with the hatch going down, about halfway done, not quite, but getting there, a good idea from both players on what exactly is going on.
And I already love what Machine's doing. See, it's all the little things that make Machine such a good player at this game. He has that drone patrolling outside the front, doesn't want to get blocked by any sort of pylon wall-in with a cannon. He sent his first scouting overlord to a farther away position instead of to the closer one. Normally top versus left is very difficult for Zergs against Protosses, so he checked for that early. Just really like those little mechanics that Machine's displaying. And look at inControl already walling off his front and setting one cannon behind that, so he's very safe from Zerglings, and actually he's safe from roaches here as well. This cannon will be able to hit those.
Perfect transfer here by Machine, sending those drones down. Oh, actually, it was there we go. Just off by a millisecond.
Perfect transfer by Machine, yes.
Well, you know, he made it perfect. So that first cannon is down. Another pylon going in there just to reinforce those buildings, and the gateway is down as well. So first unit's going to be coming out. Pool, obviously already done. No speed coming out there, and the first queen is about ready to hit.
Yeah, now is Machine getting an early second queen? Yeah, it does look like he is getting an early second queen. Now, a lot of players do like getting some sort of tech structure very quickly, but one thing that we've seen Machine do time and time again is just value getting up a fast expansion at a third. And we can see his Zerglings already killing off that probe, trying to push it away. And one thing inControl really needs to worry about is getting sentries up fast. Seems like a little bit of an odd unit to get very quickly, but because he can't really know what Machine's doing at this point, he has to especially worry about Banelings. I don't think Machine would do that, but he has been known to switch his strategies up from time to time.
All right, well, we see these Zerglings now also making their way down. Don't think we have any speed being going in yet. And, of course, they're going to pop that cannon.
Oh, just barely getting out in time.
Yep, and we do also see the Psy-Core going down just at the natural as well. So inControl getting ready to start putting together an army. Oh, my goodness.
Zerglings just walking right up the ramp. Machine says, oh, it's not walled off. Thank you very much. And just marches directly into the front of the base. And now, see, this is so smart by Machine. Machine does not really want to kill off that many probes. He will if he can, but inControl isn't going to let that happen, pulling them back with more than enough time. He wants to mess up the mining. Look at this. No gas mining. Very few probes mining right now. So one Zealot is going to help do a little bit of damage, but this is a lot that's being done by Machine right now.
Yeah, those Zerglings just squeaked right through. And just as you said, you know, and this is a mistake I think even I as a player make, is that your just first instinct is just go after the probes, go after the probes. But forcing him to pull the probes off the line is just as effective as getting a single kill.
So it looks like layer going down for Machine, and yes, there's that extremely fast third hatch. A lot of players like getting upgrades early on, or even getting a Roach Warren. Machine just expands and goes straight away for those Hydralisks, using that as his core unit. Now he's only just now starting Zergling speed. That is a very late Zergling speed, but of course it wouldn't have been any use to get it early on. Just a great read by Machine.
It does look like we had a skip of injection to make sure that we could get those creep tumors out, and of course that comes into play really big in StarCraft 2, and spreading the creep is almost an art in itself.
Especially if you watch the little one play. He's so good at being very active about that. inControl also. Look at this gorgeous wall up at the front, easily blocking this cannon, and units can still actually barely fit right through this little crevice here, as we saw the Zerglings demonstrate earlier on. But now that the warp gates are out, inControl going to be doing a little bit of early pushing. Interestingly, going for 5 warp gates gates right at the start. Not going to try to get any sort of fast robo. Look at this, a 6th gateway. Is he actually going to go for a 7th? That would be a very, very aggressive move. Looks like a Zealot did try to poke out, but Machine just surrounding it and shutting it down. Doesn't need Zergling speed, just needs that nice reaction time to shut down any sort of scouting.
And we do have, of course, Lair Tech already up, and we see just next to that Spining Pool behind the main, we do have a Spire going up as well, and that 3rd hatch is finished, so expect to see as that Queen slowly walks over there, it's some drones being transferred as well. Also, both gases being taken, so this is where he sort of prepares for not only to, to get those mutas, but also to supplement the rest of his army.
Absolutely. I mean, Mutalisk's very, very tough choice to deal with for inControl right now, because look at these positions. The more inControl pushes out, the more vulnerable inControl's main becomes. Now, if inControl has had a lot of experience against the style, he knows that he needs to start building cannons right about now if he wants to be safe, or he just needs to push in such a threatening fashion that the Mutalisks have to pull back to defend. We see Spine Crawlers already going down for Machine, and this army just isn't quite big enough for inControl yet. He needs to begin warping units in faster and faster.
One thing I noticed over here is it looks like a 2nd Queen was put in between these. Now, I've just got to take like a wild guess, and you tell me if it's wrong. But of course, with Protoss, you always got to be worried about those Void Rays and something coming out there. And you are the guy that talks about mass Queens and being able to stop that. But is it more for the creep spreading, or is it more for just being ready for anything that might surprise him?
This is a little bit odd of a placement. I would expect it to be at the front. Definitely in this location, this Queen has enough energy to transfuse to heal both of those Spine Crawlers. People tend to treat the Queen just as this larva inject, but if you get a few extra Queens, those transfuse abilities are so potent. So I would love to see a little bit more use of that and look at inControl slowly marching this army forward. Notice that he only has 4 Zealots. He's actually expecting to be up against a little bit more of a Hydralisk style army or a little bit more of a Mutalisk style army. The Mutalisk for Machine have just hatched at this moment. 7 more en route though. The Zerglings evaporate. This Queen needs to be careful not to move forward. Oh, 3 Queen getting taken out right there. There's almost no units in the production queue for Machine right now. He does have a decent amount of Zerglings out right now, but was not expecting that many sentries. Look at that huge sentry count, and the ramp is being blocked as well. Machine just tried to macro a little too hard and might lose the game to this very fast push.
Yeah, those mutas aren't going to be able to do much. In fact, they're just getting focused down there by those sentries, and with all those mass sentries, there's not anything that he could do. He's going to try to transfer those drones, but the force field will stop him there. And it is just worker annihilation here in the base of Machine.
And Machine pulling back some Spine Crawlers, but saying GG relatively quickly, and that's the sort of thing that definitely happens when you're trying to macro a little too hard. He had so many drones and such a great economy, but just skimped a little bit too much on the defense, and especially when that early Queen fell so fast. A little tough to come back from that.
And inControl wins that one. Very nicely done. It's all about the timing push right there. That was good timing. He was trying to get the Spire up. Not sure what his plans were to do with those Mutalisks. Obviously, if we're going for some harass. But I mean, gosh, anytime you have an army going up against an army like that, those Stalkers and those Sentries are just going to rip those things apart.
Brutal with the number of force fields. And I especially love the time that inControl had and the way that he got the Sentries first instead of valuing those Stalkers, because he lets the energy charge up for so long, and he's spending almost all gas as opposed to trying to spend too much money getting Stalkers or Zealots early on, which would cut into his gateway production. And players look like they're still setting up for another game.
We might as well, yeah.
Do we get a best of 3? That was a nice fast match.
Let's do it.
Oh, I'm so glad that's not the only match we're going to be doing today.
Me too. Let's just say we're doing it.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be coming up right now with another match between inControl and Machine. Just waiting for them to host the next game. Hope they can hear me up on the main stage so they host the next game. Now, one thing to note for anyone who is watching from home, perhaps any first-time viewers, because there are a lot of people who are CS fans, perhaps some die-hard Brood War fans who still have yet to watch SC2. In strategy games, most games look like that. 90% of games played on the ladder are 2 people trying to do their own thing. One of them comes with an attack that just is very well timed, has the good mix of units right before you can get the good mix of units, so my timing push wins. And we saw in that game, seemed pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and it really goes back to some of the commentary that we were talking about earlier when we were saying, like people learning about the fast expand and what you can get away with. And, look at that. I mean, he held off with a cannon and a single zealot, even though those Zerglings did manage to get in there, maybe interrupt the economy a little bit. He was able to get away with it. And I think that was a pretty solid example of exactly what you were talking about earlier this morning as it relates to Brood War.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's a timing push that's become increasingly popular in Protoss vs. Zerg. You heard me talk a little bit before how inControl traditionally is the type of player to really, really value getting fast Colossus. And that's what most people are doing because it's that power unit. It's very hard to mess up with a Colossus. You just have it, and it kills things, and you feel nice.
We are going to do
but the problem
match.
with going some sort
Lost
of
Temple,
big Colossus
they've been
push.
told to host, so keep your eye out for that.
We've got
All
it.
right, great.
Beautiful.
We're joining the game right now. But I mean, with the Colossus, it does take a while to get. And in the early days of a strategy game, it doesn't matter about who gets things fast or who gets things slow. It's just who gets the unit that people don't know is strong yet. And for a long time, it was like, I didn't realize a Colossus could kill so many things. And now Zerg players, as we saw Machine, can very good at getting all those bases up and teching at the same time. But now we see inControl drifting more back to a timing push-oriented style, just getting the gateways up and attacking at a very fragile part for Zerg.
Absolutely. And speaking, yes, I'm ready to go as well.
I'll let them know that we are ready. Good luck. Have fun.
All right, we are going to be on Lost Temple this time.
I actually really like Lost Temple as a map because that ramp makes for some really interesting potentials. Not the ramp, excuse me. The cliff overlooking your natural.
Yes.
Makes everyone wish that Terran wasn't allowed to spawn on Lost Temple. Yeah,
exactly.
That one definitely leads to some interesting things. And again, wow, really close positions. inControl at the north as the yellow Protoss, and at the right, Machine as the red Zerg.
And inControl just said this game is for all the three-legged dogs on Earth.
Oh,
He's
that's
dedicating
so cute.
this game to the three-legged dogs.
It's very adorable, a three-legged dog. He's so loyal, and yet he's always exactly where you left him. So it looks like we see Machine is going to be building an Overlord on 9 food. For any of you new viewers, the way we notate timing, since we don't have any sort of clock in the game, is to just discuss things as to what this food count says at the top. So inControl just built a pylon, so we did a pylon on 9, and now it looks like Machine is going Overlord 9 and then making a drone on 9.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, okay?
Right.
Help me understand this. Now, if I'm playing this, I'm sending my Obi to the closest base, right? Whereas here we see, and you mentioned this in the last game, the Obi is going south, and his second Obi is rallied over there. But, I mean, why? Why is that way better than the other?
Yeah, now most people will default to go to the closest position. Overlords are the supply unit for Zerg, and since you have them, may as well scout with them. And just to note, inControl is going for very fast gateway strategy.
Yep.
But what people slowly start to learn is that there are specific openings my opponent does that I lose to a lot. Now, note, for example, inControl is building a gateway right by his front. He's going to be doing some sort of rush strategy, and at the same time, Machine has early expanded.
Right.
Pretend that the gateways were down here at the bottom. Look at the distance from the bottom to this expansion. It's very short. Look at the distance from this expansion, and you can just hear how long the pause is, to right here. It's a much longer distance. So he's saying, I'm going to scout here where the scarier thing could be. Sure, I'll end up finding him a little bit later, but all I care about is not dying to a very, very fast rush. So people are starting to be very clever with how they send their Overlord scouts out to accomplish a specific task. If you were doing something like rushing Zerglings, you'd really want to eliminate this north position as a very fast possibility.
And the pool is just halfway done, and you can already see this first Zealot is just marching down. You could see that he's a man with a mission, or a Zealot with a mission. He is going to turn around and go back as this probe is going to get in here and at least get an idea. He tries to use those drones to block him off and not let him get inside, because he's going to see that pool is not done, and then that might actually get him to turn back around. It is well, it's going to complete right there. So,
and it looks like inControl did end up pulling back. Now, this seems really counterintuitive. If someone goes hatchery, then pool, most people think, well, oh gosh, that's a huge opportunity to rush him. He waited for his pool to be done so long. But the problem is, because you have 2 hatches so fast, whenever the pool does finish, you get a ton of units really quickly. So what inControl's actually thinking is, geez, I better not rush him, because if I lose all my Zealots, I lose the game instantly. And as we can see, look at that huge Zergling count for Machine, getting 6 Zerglings out right away. Oh, God, but Machine is doing the perfect move, getting his queens and as many drones as he can. Way too often players will end up getting too many Zerglings.
So, I mean, I really like that open because it gave a lot of options to inControl here. He had the gateway, so he could try to go for the quick push once he realized that it was down. And now he's going to come in with these 6 Zerglings. Machine's going to do as much damage, and he is going to focus on that gateway right there. He turns his attention to the Zealot, who gets right in that little gap, and it's a perfect place to be because only so many Zealots can hit. He'll go back to the gateway, and then we're just going to play Ring Around the Rosie here with this Zealot. But good control by inControl, and he's going to have to do something about these Lings.
Yeah, that gateway is losing a lot of health fast. He went a little far forward, getting it out just in time. And notice this probe transfer was actually late because inControl really had to focus on this little tiny thing going on at the front. It's always those little advantages. And of course, we see that another great advantage to the fast gateway, you can always get a fast cybernetics core. So that means that scary push we saw last game could potentially come even quicker. Machine hasn't done anything quite yet with his money. He's just sitting up way high at 500 minerals.
A lot of options from that point, too. And
looks like the Queen is also beginning to spread the creep to join up those 2 bases. Really, Machine is going to kind of hang out in the main until he starts to see any sort of big notable tech structure. There should be some anti-air structure or anti-air unit getting built out of this gateway soon, but inControl's instead favoring getting more gateways, getting more structures, more upgrades. Doesn't really care too much about that at this point in time. Machine already doing a relatively normal timed layer, hasn't gotten Zergling speed yet, and that's probably the most interesting aspect of Machine's play. The fact that he skips that. Most people rush for that in this matchup, helps them control when probes can get out to scout you.
I really don't not ever rush to it, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, most players do. I mean, any probe that comes out to scout, you're faster than it, you can kill it. If Zealots try to harass you, you can counterattack, and if he doesn't bring out enough Zealots, he's not allowed to retreat because you're faster. I mean, there's a million and one reasons why it's an excellent technique to do, but it looks like Machine's just going to keep that money saved up nice and high so he can take that gold expo very quickly.
Yep, working on that rock, and we are going to have the lair finish here in just a moment now. In the last game, he chose to go Spire there early on based off that rush. I don't know that we're going to see anything like that. We'll have to actually see here as, oh, no, he's gonna repeat, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, it looks like he is going for that 5 gateway style. It's a little bit faster of a +1 attack upgrade. Still going to be on 5 gates. Oh no, 6 gateways. Looks like he is going for a big attack style. On this map, because there's rocks at this gold, because it's harder to take your gold, a lot of people favor getting more gateway units first and then expanding. On a map like Metalopolis, where all the expansions are free and wide open, most people favor getting fewer gateways and expanding a little bit earlier. And it looks like, again, with the Spire tech, he needs to be so careful, but one thing that's a lot bigger of an advantage is that he only needs one area to defend. This area right here is the big key where he can plant spine crawlers. In Metalopolis, there's so many entrances to worry about, but still, inControl's going to have a very scary push. And oh, look at this. Blink coming out of the Twilight Council. That will allow him to not only hit the front and pull back the weakened Dragoons, or excuse me, wrong game, Stalkers, but he'll also be able to pop up onto the high ground and around the units.
Right. No, good. Definitely good choice. So he's just not going to have like as big of an army as you have. You also see the +1 ground weapons being put out there by inControl, and this hatch is just being down. You can see the creep spreading going really well here, as it's very important that you have that quick access to there if you have to defend it. And then another thing I'm noticing different is that Machine actually chose to put a lot more spine crawler defense out there, and now he's sort of moving it up, put it in position just in case that big army from inControl does come down.
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of the biggest aspects of Machine's play that I steal is his movement with his spine crawlers. He likes building a lot early on and then rearranging them to be a lot stronger, and Machine's going to be more than okay in this position. And because these spine crawlers outrange all that, there's no way that they can really do any damage, but I don't know if inControl did get the chance to see those Mutalisks or not. He definitely hasn't seen the Spire. He's aware that the gold has probably been taken, and this is a very forward pylon placement. I don't think he knows that the Mutalisks are there, because he would want to pull back, and there's 2 cannons there, but it's not going to be enough. inControl's going to be able, Machine's going to be able to take out these cannons, and inControl's in a very tough spot. inControl's going to need to warp in Stalkers into his main, and it looks like Dark Templar at the front. Oh my God, Dark Templar completely underused unit in this matchup. Machine is going to have to retreat, and Dark Templar kill units so quickly. The Dark Shrine, very rarely built unit, but as we see, it is absolutely obliterating this expansion, and all the drones now have to retreat. Machine might just want to target fire all of these DTs to just get them out of the way, but with all these warping and stalkers, and there's some great blink play, advancing forward and sniping off the overseers using blink so that way his Dark Templar maintains strength throughout the game. Machine is in an extremely awkward position with this sort of warp in. This is a brilliant tactic by inControl that we have just really never seen at this level of play, and it is working just brilliantly.
Yeah, Machine is really can't seem to get that Overseer there to be able to detect these DTs, and these DTs are just going to start wrecking. Here he brings them in. He's even got to pull his drones to try to get it done, but he's fighting an uphill battle with only 2 mutas and a few drones, and this natural is just going to get completely wrecked, and Machine has no choice but to say GG, and the game ends thanks to 4 DTs, 5 DTs.
Yeah, and you know, the funny thing is that in that circumstance, if an Overseer were there, wouldn't have done anything, right? It would have been poked, repelled, done. But that really goes to show that in the game that is as new as StarCraft, sure, the beta has had the game out for, what, like 4 or 5 months out now? People have been playing it. There's still so much that people haven't seen that they're not expecting. You can exploit a strategy like that.
I wasn't expecting it. Honestly, I didn't even see the DT building.
Yeah, just suddenly DTs, and I was like, wow.
And if you noticed, Machine, he tried to react, and he built those 2 Overseers like right in the middle of the battle, and it was just easy pickings for those stalkers right there.
What's so cool is that inControl created that build pretty much to force the DTs to work, because by getting so many stalkers with blink, if there's just one Overseer, he blinks directly up to the Overseer, kills it, runs away again.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
DTs.
You're absolutely right. So
the more I
mean,
think about it, that's what makes inControl so good. I mean, it's forcing it to be stable.
It was not an arbitrary research at all. You know, and additionally, with that type of research, you've got a lot of options. In that case, using the DTs, making sure that you've got coverage in case any Overseers came out, or he could have gotten vision in the base, blinked up. So there's a lot that he could have done there. I think that was pretty solid.
So wow, inControl just having very, very dominating play in that series. And of course, Machine, we have to be fair to Machine. He really is an astoundingly good Zerg player, has influenced a lot of Zerg players in StarCraft 2 with his ability to just macro and get up more bases.
Right. So we are going to see inControl win 2 games to 0. So if you chose inControl, EG inControl, you might. Did you tweet Day 9?
I didn't. I was busy casting at that point in time.
Come on. Then you could be the winner of this 120 gigabyte Samsung solid state drive now on the market, and they'll speed up your StarCraft 2 as well.
That'll fix your whole computer as far as I'm concerned. And by your whole computer, I mean my whole computer.
inControl won because he was using SSDs up there.
It lets him macro a little bit better.
Obviously, I mean, look at the timing pushes that he has right there. It's coming out. Coming up next, League of Legends, and you know, of course, you know, tomorrow it's going to be like finals, and we're gonna be doing a bunch of Brood War. Of course, Counter-Strike. Probably get hit up the Tekken 6 finals. We're going to try to hit up as many as we can. Of course, time is limited, and of course, games and stage and whatnot is limited. But I still look forward to that. So, Day, I mean, I guess officially you're done for the day. Are you gonna come to the WCG party tonight, or are you gonna go
I
home?
might. I mean, I'm pretty cool on Saturday night. Generally, I play board games with my roommates, but maybe I'll go to a party where there is.
We'll take a board game there.
Bar. Oh yeah, dude, I would love to play some Drunken Settlers.
Yeah, what's your drink? What's your drink, Day?
What's my drink of choice?
Yeah.